My name is Colley, and I'm an associate professor of mass communication. I'm also the department chair for Mass Comm and the director for Rambler Media Group. I started here about 10 years ago, and I have taught public relations and journalism classes since I've been here. In my free time, I like to garden. I also like to go to the beach and go to drum corps. I know drum corps, nobody knows what it is probably, but Drum Corps International, which is a marching band contest. I decided to be an educator when I was working on my master's degree at Baylor University, and I was going to be a foreign correspondent. And in class one day, our professor got called out of the classroom and told that one of the alums was killed in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. Suddenly it became real that you could die being a foreign correspondent. And I really enjoyed actually teaching because I was teaching as well in the graduate program. So that's when I decided to go into education. Well, I would encourage students to collaborate by getting to know people in their classes. The best way to do that is just to introduce yourself to everybody who's sitting around you. Fortunately, in our classes in mass communication, most people have to work together in group projects, and you have to get to know people pretty early on. So it's really easy. One of the things that you have to figure out, though, as you are working in teams is how to work with people who maybe don't want to work with you. And that can be a challenge, is to get everybody on board. Unfortunately, in life, not everybody's going to be on board every single time you have a project. So you have to figure out how to work that too. But that shouldn't in any way deter you from working together and collaborating with your friends. Everything is better when we work together. Well, to me, creativity is thinking of things a little bit differently. Instead of looking at something the way everybody else is going to look at it, turn it inside out, sideways, from a different perspective, different angle. We talk about these things when we talk about photography. We talk about these things when we talk about art, but we don't necessarily talk about these things when we talk about strategy. And you can do the same thing with strategy. You can be just as creative with coming up with a strategy as you can with any sort of music, photography, visual art, anything like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about art and music. You can be really creative in strategy as well. The advice that I have for first-year mass communication students is to go to class. That is the advice that I have for any student, actually. You don't have to be a mass communication student to get that kind of advice from me. But my first bit of advice would be go to class. If you're not going to class, if you're not attending, even if it's an online class and you're not logging in on a consistent basis, you're not going to be successful. My next bit of advice would be talk to your professor. And with those two pieces of advice, I think anybody can be successful in college. I'm a first generation college student myself, and that was what somebody told me when I started school. It's worked for me. It can work for you too.